It has been a long time, but I have returned, and I have the video. I have a video. I have fucking who am I kidding? What's up? I have a battle video against the guy by the name of Try Attack. This is from the UU tournament. I'm gonna go ahead and upload those in order because I kind of feel like that's the tournament I did the best in. I got popped in both Saturdays and Sundays. Saturday being the main event, but Friday we had a little UU tournament. You guys should know how much I like UU, and I was like, you know what? Why the fuck not? So my opponent was Try Attack. I ended up playing him on Saturday too, but this is probably the better of our two games. Unfortunately, Sableye on my end ended up making this match unnecessarily long, but I did go ahead and scout it beforehand and speed up the unnecessary bits. But as you can see, my team doesn't really look like anything I've used before, and I do have to give credit to Cap for the idea behind part of it, which is Heracross and Sableye, not Heracross and Sableye, Heracross and Zoroark working together to bait out each other's common switch-ins, because you won't really know which is which, and they do tend to bait out certain things that the other one can handle fairly easily. But I'm going to go ahead and lead off with my Scarf Victini. I forget what nature it is, which actually I believe might come into play later, maybe. But he leads off with a Scolipede. I know lead Scolipedes like to carry the Focus Sash, so I'm just going to go ahead and go into my Sableye with the U-turn and just go ahead and break it. I figure I can go ahead and go for the... I think he thought I was going to go for the Will-O-Wisp there. I was going to go for the sub, or maybe he was expecting a taunt too, I don't know, but I'm just going to do this whole sub Confuse Ray. I think I got sub, Confuse Ray, Will-O-Wisp, and Recover. Taunt would have been very handy in this tournament, but the set I have now is fine. So he goes into Bronzong. I believe this is his Stealth Rocker, and he's going to go ahead and go for the Gyro Ball. I will admit that this part is very boring, because I forgot up until like a certain point that he had an Umbreon, and he did I'm not going to say he did a good job of like hiding it from me, but I could have just remembered it, but I guess he just didn't bring it in until earlier, which really makes like these next couple of turns moot, because no matter what I burn, he's going to be able to Heal Bell it off, because he is that type of Umbreon. That's why I'm mentioning it. So he's the Heal Bell, Wish Passer, that kind of thing. Bronzong got the rocks up. He realizes that he can't do too much with it. I just want a safe switch from Chandelure, like a relatively safe one, I guess, which is why I decided to go into my Lantern. Now, well, it might be confused, and he might be tempted to go for the Fire Blast. I think he maybe might have tried to go for Shadow Ball on that turn, but he does go for Shadow Ball on this one. This is a special defensive Lantern with the Water Absorb, which actually doesn't come into play at all in this game because he ends up getting a crit, but the little bit of word of mouth I got from that day was that people were going to be using Kingdra a lot, mainly the Rain Dance special variant. So I was like, okay, I'm going to switch it up to Water Absorb, and I'm going to see how well that works out. It was kind of circumstantial, but it's kind of like the whole Bronzong thing where you're not really going to Earthquake a Bronzong unless you have reasonable suspicion to, that kind of thing. Lantern can have either or as a black or white one, and you know, most people carry Volt Absorb. I was like, you know what, we'll switch it up and we'll see if that works out against Kingdra. That was my main reason for having it. But I think right here you can see that this is my my Zoroark. Now the problem is with Hitmontop is it's not really a favorable matchup for either of them. If I really wanted to make this like a completely unorthodox thing, I probably could have put Psychic instead of Grass Knot. I think Zoroark gets Psychic. I feel like it does, and nobody runs it because this is better coverage anyway. But I'm not gonna lie, Hitmontop kind of stopped both of these things in general. So, yeah, so I'm going to switch out into my Claydol because I figure this is a good opportunity to come in. I think this is his second close combat, so he's going to be scared of the Psychic, you know, since he's -2 and everything. He is at a decent amount of HP, but the special defense straps are really going to not force him, I guess, but he's not going to want to fucking stay in on this, is what I'm trying to say. But surprisingly, he does. He ends up going for the Sucker Punch, I believe, as I end up going for the Earth Power, actually predicting his Chandelure to come in and, you know, threaten me out with the Shadow Ball or whatever, which is why I didn't go for the Psychic. I have the Psychic, but there's my reasoning behind that. So he ends up taking an Earth Power, not too well as a result, and I think I end up switching up moves here as he ends up going into Bronzong. But both of my moves can't really no, okay, good, I set up the Stealth Rocks. That is fantastic. Reasoning for that was probably because he was gonna end up getting forced out, so whatever. I'm sorry, between Sableye and like all these little interim plays are just like, I don't really remember what happened in this game, because I think this game happened on Friday, and it is now almost a week later since I played this game. Holy shit. Oh, he goes for a Hidden Power right there. I'm assuming it's Ice. But this tells me that I've learned his full set at this point. He doesn't have like some Rogue Hypnosis or Toxic, anything like that. He's got Stealth Rock, 3 attacks. Kind of works out. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out, decide to go into my Sableye. And I don't think this thing really ends up being the shit stain on the match just yet. Like, the couple of turns before that were whatever. But as long as this thing's alive, there's going to be random sped up bits. So, go for Confuse Ray on that one. Ends up hitting himself. That's fantastic. I'm not really going to want to stay in, though. I'm really just looking for safe opportunities to bring my pokes in, but it's not really working out. Right here, if I'd have just Will-O-Wisp, that would have been great, because Bronzong is mainly operating, you know, on a bunch of physical moves. And right here, he randomly just goes for a Foresight just to hit me. But he is burned, so I'm like, you know what? That's going to be a great opportunity to go into my actual Heracross, because if he ends up going for close combat, I'm going to resist that. If he goes for Sucker Punch, it'll fail. If he goes for Rapid Spin, that's still... No, who the fuck am I kidding? That only did 10 damage. But this is a sub SD set, and this right here is where he gets in a little bit of trouble. And had I played a little bit more carefully with this, the match probably would have been over a little bit quicker. But it's kind of a high pressure situation, you know, being in the first round of the tournament and whatnot. So I was like, okay, I'm going to set up a sub, because I know a close combat really isn't going to hurt that bad anyway. And if he wants to go for Sucker Punch, that's going to hurt even less. But it turns out that I'm not going to try to kill him off. I'm just going to try to set up right now. But the important thing is I need to keep Heracross alive for Umbreon, which I did not even piece together until it came in. But I think at that point in the game, when he finally brings it in, we kind of have both going on, so there we go. Anyway, he recognizes that this thing is a threat, decides to switch out, and Chandelure is a very good switch into this thing. I don't know why I fucking went for the sub. I think I decided to go for sub on the off chance that the close combat was going to do like 25%, but that's probably a defensive Hitmontop, so I don't know if a defensive burn one would even done 25%, so kind of silly there. Mega Horn is quad resisted. I am at +2, so it doesn't really surprise me that it does a sizable chunk, but it's not really going to be enough to the point where I'm satisfied. I do see that he's Life Orb, though. I think I noticed that from earlier, which is why I decided to try to sub-stall a little bit right here to try to get himself to either miss Fire Blast or just kill himself off from the Life Orb recoil. And in hindsight, that was probably the worst of the two plays. I just really didn't want to risk missing a Mega Horn, because that would have completely thrown off my momentum. And I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and sub down until he tries to switch. Maybe he's going to try to preserve this Chandelure for Claydol. Or maybe Claydol already died. I don't remember. I don't think it did. So, just go for another sub. And I thought he was going to die on that one, which is why I went for it twice, and I was like, okay, that's not going to be too big of a consequence there, but I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, go for the Mega Horn, take him out. I know that's going to be easy picking from there. It was easy picking from the other range before, but get my Moxie boost going on. I do not want to stay in on the Porygon Z that comes in immediately after, just because, you know, he can probably take me out from this range with a Tri-Attack. I do see that he's Adaptability instead of Download, so I guess that kind of works out, but I don't know what item he is, but just based on the games that I've been having lately where Porygon Z being used a lot and me happening to have a Ghost type, I was like, we'll go ahead and repeat that. Bring in my Sableye, and we're just going to do this same old song and dance again, because it turns out that he was choice. But he's almost dead, and then he shows the Umbreon, and I'm just like, shit, okay. If you had Heal Bell, that's kind of stupid. And then I forgot mid-game that Synchronize does go through subs. I really have to remember that. It's like that, and I think Static goes through subs soon. So, whatever. Gets a Wish Off and his Heal Bell, so he's going to try to bring his Hitmontop back up to full. I don't really mind, to be honest. I end up making a double switch out into my Heracross anyways. Heracross is not scared of Hitmontop, and I think something cool happened right there where he got the Intimidate off on my Sableye before I switched out to Heracross. I don't know what the mechanics are behind that, whether it's like the slower Pokemon that switches out first, or I don't know how that works, but it worked out great, because now this is +2 attack instead of +1 attack owing to the Intimidate. And we actually have a really good difference going on here in terms of his defense and my offense. There is a 3-stage difference, which means it's going to be a really easy kill. I think what I should have done right here is I should have gone for another sub. Did I? No, I did not. I guess I just didn't want to risk the amount of HP, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll try to go for the kill, and I end up getting the kill, which means that if I'm able to get rocks up at any point in the game, they're going to be there to stay, but unfortunately, I don't think I get that luxury, which would have been nice against Chandelure, but that's already dead anyway, so I don't really have to worry about it. Everything else is just going to take neutral or resisted damage, so it's whatever. I'm kind of splitting hairs at this point, but I decided to go into my Sableye. He actually does predict this very nicely. Had I kept going for close combat, I think it would have been game at this point, but I wasn't really thinking about it. I was like, you know what, I just don't want to take a Tri-Attack because he's bringing it in because he's obviously faster, and he just ends up tricking me a Choice Scarf. It actually doesn't end up being that bad, because to be honest, as long as Umbreon's still alive, I don't really want this thing around, but I go for Confuse Ray. I'm not going to double Confuse Ray. I could just stay in here and Confuse Raying the entire time, but I'm like, you know what, it could make good death fodder later, or maybe I might need a Will-O-Wisp to happen in a pinch, so there's that. But I go to my Claydol, he ends up snapping out of Confusion on the first, and I was just like, wow, okay, Sableye really did not work out for me in this game at all. It does work out in future games, but just this one, it and Lantern both fucking suck, because Lantern went down onto a crit, and Sableye's work was basically all for nothing. So I do get the safe switch into my my Scarf Victini though, and this is basically just gonna fuck up his day completely, especially since Chandelure is gone. The only thing I have to touch Chandelure with is the Fusion Bolt, but because it's gone, I can V-Create as much as I want. It is actually going to go ahead and take out that Bronzong from full HP. Not that I don't think that crit mattered at all, to be honest. I think this is an Adamant Scarfed one, and he's not heat-proof, or maybe, I don't know. I just kind of feel like that's overkill, regardless. So, he goes into the Umbreon. As tempting as it is to V-Create on it, I do have other things to deal with it, and I'm not going to go ahead and sack it as long as his Porygon Z is still around. So, I decide to go into my Sableye right here, potentially his Death Fodder slash whatever the fuck he's gonna do. I don't care if he wants to Wish Pass or whatever, but I decided to go for a Will-O-Wisp right here, because if it synchronizes back onto me, that's fine. I'm already fucking burned anyway, and it turns out I get the Scolipede on the switch. I don't know how offensive this thing is. All I've seen are spikes on it, but I'm going to die at the end of the turn from burn anyway, and then bring in my Victini. So this thing is going to end up dying unless he wants to switch out to his Umbreon and take the hit. I think since this thing is burned, he's just going to leave it in his Death Fodder. So that thing unfortunately didn't really get to do much. I think I'm running one of those in my my actual retail cart playthrough. It's a Whirlipede right now. I don't know. I figured I would just mention that because I was playing it on the plane up. But, yeah, going back to the game, he brings an Umbreon. I don't want to stay in for paybacks or anything like that, especially because I'm locked in on a Psychic move. That's bad fucking news. But I bring in my Zoroark this time. Both of these guys are sub, and both of them have lefties, and that's about as good as I can bluff either one of them. But going back on that principle that the cat talked to me about, if Heracross comes in, and you know, people think it's Scarfed and it's gonna go for close combat, they could go into Slowbro, they could go into like fucking Chandelure, things like that. And the more things you think about for Heracross that want to switch in on it, like the more Zoroark is prepared for it, and sort of vice versa, shit like that. And it ended up working out fairly well. I tested this team a couple times, and this was probably the one I was happiest with, although the other team I was running was probably the better one in general. But right here, I think I ended up going for Focus Blast, ended up missing, ended up going for a Flamethrower because the Protect is kind of obvious. Finally get my second Focus Blast off, do get a critical hit. I don't know how crucial this was to the outcome of the game, because I think he just kind of mentally throws in the towel at this point, because it does a lot. It doesn't end up taking it out, but I do still have my Heracross and my Scarf Victini left. Not that the Scarf really has anything to do with it, but there's that. So he can go for Protects endlessly, but because he's at a low amount of HP to the point where Focus Blast can't take me out, all he can really do is Protect and maybe try to stall me out of him. And that's about it. I end up going for a Flamethrower right here because I don't want to miss Focus Blast. Should not have done that, because it turns out he actually ends up living it, but he ends up going for the payback, so that's not all bad. If he had went for the Wish and then the Protect, we would have been doing this whole thing all day. But he's got Wish, Protect, Heal Bell, Payback. I think mine is the exact same set, but Toxic instead of Payback, so it's just fully supportive. That thing doesn't like getting taunted, but go for a Dark Pulse right here because the Protect actually was pretty obvious, and I don't want to waste any Focus Blasts at this point in the game. What happens here? We're getting near the end of the game anyway, so go for a Flamethrower. I know because he's at a lower amount of HP. I think he was at like really, really low yellow. I'm pretty sure the Flamethrower will take him out from that range because I don't want to risk the Focus Blast, and it does. So thanks to the fact that this thing is still alive, I can go ahead and go for a Dark Pulse. I don't really care about what else I go for because I do still have the Scarf Victini. And just to get a little bit of salt in the wound at the end of the game, I end up getting a flinch. Not that it was really crucial to the outcome because I do still have that. As long as I had that Victini, it was going to be the game. But I end up going for another Dark Pulse, and I think the damage roll just gives it to me on that one. So that was the end of my round 1 tournament match. I really had fun with it despite how long it was. I had to pull my charger out mid-game, but From the entire tournament, I got like 5 or 6 really good games that I was satisfied with. I think 3 of them being with this team, and 1 of them being with a different one. And then I played Hayden with my Black-White 2 OU team, and then I played another dude with that team too. It was a Sun team. So those are the only games I got from it. Didn't really get the opportunity to play too many people because I was just too busy running around checking everything out. It was a really good time out there. I am editing vlogs / going through the footage, deciding what to upload and what not to upload. So expect that, or like a couple of vlogs over the next couple days. I just got to get my footage together, and then just keep in mind that I'm still prepping to move out of town at the end of the month, so schedule is still gonna have a couple of gaps in it for the next couple of weeks, but I am gonna do my best to try to get content out to you. I already have LP episodes scheduled through like the next 5 weeks, so you don't have to worry about that at all. And I've got plenty of battle videos. It's just about whether or not I can take the time to sit down and record them, that kind of thing. So I guess just to put it in short, if you like my LPs, you're set. If you like everything else, I really have to find the time to do it. And there's that. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you are welcome to leave a like rating, comment, subscribe, and do your thing. I'm gonna upload the tournament matches in order after this point, and then just do a bunch of other games like from the stream and stuff. And that's what we got. So I will see you guys on the next one.